Hi everybody and welcome to episode 47 of the Griianaig Creations Podcast. My name is Kirsty and I am coming to you from the west coast of Scotland, United Kingdom. It's been a long time since my last podcast. I don't even want to guess how long, but I know it's probably not the longest that I've gone without podcasting. I'm going to stop swiveling right now. But yeah, I wanted to get a podcast in. The weather is nice enough that I can podcast by the window, but it's also probably going to start chucking it down at any moment. And it's been on off kind of dreich all day, and yeah, Scotland summer is officially over. Yes, ask any Scottish person, they'll tell you we tend to get about 1 week's worth of summer, and it's either in like March or April or like August. It's not normally when you would count summer. So yeah, waiting for it to get really dark and gloomy, in which case I might have to put a light on or move to somewhere else to record. So yeah, just wanted to get a podcast out. Some of you have been asking for it. So just also wanted to make sure you all knew I'm still alive, I'm okay. It's not that anything's been causing me to not podcast, it's just life in general. And anytime I felt like the morning had good weather and I'd record after work, by the time I got to after work, the weather would be absolutely miserable and it'd be chucking it down, it'd be dark and gloomy, and basically the weather was not working in my favour. So shall we get started? I have 3 works. No, I don't have 3 works in progress. I probably do, but that's not what I was trying to say. I have 3 finished objects. One of them got finished literally last night, so it hasn't been blocked. The ends are still to be woven in and cut, but I am so happy with this one, guys. It is my Amma sweater. Can't see the bottom. So this is the Amma sweater by Maddie Harvey, and for anyone that's not already aware, because I think a lot of people that watch my podcast listen to the Tipsy Knits podcast, or at least have them on Instagram. Maddie Harvey and the lovely ladies behind the Tipsy Knit podcast, Sia and Pip, are running a knit along for this sweater. And it goes under the hashtag, well, there's a few hashtags. There's Amma Sweater, Amma Sweater Cal, and the one that always makes me chuckle, Amma Sweater, no you're a sweater. So this is my Amma sweater. It is knit in all Philieas yarns, which is in their BFL DK base. Again, as I said, I literally cast this off last night. I've not made many modifications because I am a complete beginner when it comes to sweaters and where to even begin when it comes to altering them. The only thing I did do differently is I made my sleeves particularly long. Might not look it, but they come to literally where this one's sitting on me just now, and I'm hoping with blocking it'll kind of come to about here. I tend to roll my sleeves up. You might be going like, no you don't. There are the occasions where if I have one long enough, I will tend to wear it down to about here because I get really cold hands, especially in this room when I'm working during the week. So I wanted something that could keep my hands a wee bit warm, and this length seems to do the trick. So this is knit in Philieas yarns, like I said, and I got this yarn at Edinburgh Yarn Festival this year, the one just passed in March. And the blue was an anniversary present from my other half, Scott, and I bought the pink. He didn't have to buy me yarn. I didn't make him buy me yarn. For anyone gets in some sort of high horse or anything, he offered to buy me yarn because I don't tell anybody what to buy me. If I want something, I will save up and buy it myself. I never ask anyone to buy me anything. I am a very awkward person to buy for because people will be like, is there anything you want? I'll be like, no, nothing. And then I'm a very awkward person to surprise because normally if it's something you guys think I want, I've probably gone out and bought it. So I'm a very awkward person to buy for. So he said he would buy me maximum 3 skeins at Edinburgh, and up to a maximum of like 50 quid. And so After talking to Pip in the seating area, I decided I wanted to take part in the Amma sweater, and so I got Scott to buy the blue so that I could make the body, and I bought the pink. Very, very happy with it. I tried it on last night. I really do need to block the bottom because it is flipping, as you can see. So that's it. If I hold it, and then if I don't hold it, it just flips. So I need to block it. Hopefully maybe get the arms just a little bit longer. I still have to sew the neckband like the instructions state, but I left that big bundle there. That is my extra yarn to sew the two edges together and sew down the neckband. But I am so happy with this. I'm planning, I say this and then it will all go terribly wrong. I am planning on dyeing yarn for another Amma sweater, and I'm going to knit the size down. And the reason for that is because I'm not as body conscious. I'm not as body conscious. No, that's the opposite. I'm a wee bit more body conscious about cropped things with my figure, especially after I had my surgery for my Crohn's, and it's kind of messed up my stomach and it bulges out a wee bit more than my fat does, basically. So the scar kind of pushes it out a wee bit more, and it's quite obvious in certain items of clothing. So I'm a wee bit more body conscious than I would like to be. Don't get me wrong, I'm not one that's going to be running and having a diet anytime soon. Hell no. I like my food too much, but there is something stopping me from being comfortable in cropped clothing. Seriously, got to stop spinning on this chair. Sorry if that's distracting. So there's just something that I'm not comfortable with when it comes to cropped clothing. I do think this would look really cute with some of my dresses that do go in at the waist and then go back out so that my stomach isn't as obvious. But I generally think once I have one or two cropped things that I might come around to it, because I really want to make the Soldotna crop, and there's a few others that have totally escaped my mind in their names, but I might come around to it eventually. Please don't feel like this is something people need to jump into the comments saying, oh my god, you look so cute in something cropped. No, I don't want that. This is a personal thing. This is a personal barrier. Only I can overcome it. But thanks. So yeah, very, very happy with this. Cannot wait to wear it. It's going to be so nice, especially because this room gets really, really cold. And my mum's always just like, put the heating on, put the heating on. And I'm so stubborn that I'm just like, nope, layer. I will just layer up. We're all good. So this is going to be a great layering piece for over cute dresses or when I'm working, kicking around the house, that kind of thing. So you can see all the ends. They won't get woven in. They'll get woven in. Then I'll block it. And then I'll cut them. That's the plan. And I'm going to block it tonight because I am so desperate to wear it. But yeah, finish object number 1. Finish object number 2 and 3 are from the same yarn. I'll start with this pair because this is the first ones I made. 2 pairs of socks. I think I was working on these on the last video. I'd cast them on for a drive that Scott and I were going on, and I needed something simple to work on and just something I could really enjoy, and you all know I love a good sock now. So this is in the Psychedelic Easter Egg colourway, which is by Otherworldly Yarns. And the dyer behind that is Corolla, the wonderful, awesome, works magic with colour Corolla, who I'm very happy to call a dear friend of mine. I bought this yarn a while ago and it was sitting in my stash and I was dying to make something with it. And then my other friend Rosie of the Pixel Atlantis podcast had knit a pair of socks in Psychedelic Easter Egg. And she wore them to Edinburgh Yarn Festival and she took a picture, and I just knew instantly after seeing hers that I had to make socks as well with mine. So I was working on these. I'd finished one sock and I'd cast on the second sock, And then it came to my birthday and I treated myself to a new pair of Dog Martin boots. And I was sitting working on the second one. I was like, the leg of these socks is not long enough to wear with these boots. Normally my Dog Martin boots are quite short. I have a slightly different style from the original, and it's a lot shorter on the leg. It's more kind of like ankle boots. And so these would be fine with my ankle boots, but I'm trying to not stop wearing them because that's just a waste. But my cat clawed the toe and they look god awful now. So I wanted to treat myself to a new pair. I still wear the other ones, don't get me wrong. So these are still perfect. But I knew that if I wore these with my new ones, which are my yellow Dog Martens, that if the leg fell down, I wouldn't really be able to put my fingers through the boot and pick them up. So with that said, I finished the second one regardless, and I thought, heck, I still have loads of yarn. Let's just cast on a second pair. So I did just that. I decided one weekend, Scott was down, we were just chilling, watching stuff on Netflix or YouTube, and I had finished these ones and I wanted to cast on the next pair, and I was like, I'm not going to have enough for a length I'm happy with in the leg without adding in a contrast for the heels, toes and cuffs. And this yellow is so bright, my camera cannot handle it. It's blowing out the toe something awful, but this seems a bit true. So this is a mini from My Mama Knits, and it is blowing out the camera so badly. Let's see if I hold it back here. So yeah, you're not really going to get a true colour. I was trying to see if I can get a picture and put it on YouTube. And it's highlighter yellow. So it's a mini from My Mama Knits. It's one of our 20 gram minis. I think I picked it up at Perth 2018. And I thought it was brilliant. So I gave Scott the choice of picking between this and this one here. So he had the choice between the bright yellow or this really gorgeous very kind of like frosty grey blue, and he chose the yellow. I'll fix that later. So these ones were done cuff down with a heel flap and gusset on 64 stitches on a 2.25mm needle. These were done toe up with a fish lips kiss heel, 64 stitches, 2.25. So what I can't get over is the difference, because I've lined the toes up and the fish lips kiss heel overshoots really quite a lot. Like that's at least, what, an inch that's overshooting by. And I can't help but think that it's maybe because of the slip stitch heel flap. But still, they both fit, like perfectly, they both fit. So it's taking a bit for my head to wrap that one around. Maybe I'm just being really silly. I really do think it's down to the heel though. But yeah, one foot is slightly longer than the other because when I tried it on, it was a perfect fit, but I've always been under the belief that you're meant to put in some form of negative ease, because apparently, like, eventually this will stretch out and it'll lose its elasticity. I can't say it. It will not be as springy. So I fear that the one that is longer will wear out a wee bit quicker. So I don't know whether to do the surgery now and just put some needles in a couple of rows apart and then snip one stitch and unravel and then graft, like take a couple of rows out and then graft them together, or just leave it and see and whatever. But I'm happy. I got 2 pairs of socks out of them. The second pair are long enough to wear with my yellow Doc Martens, so I can have yellow Doc Martens and highlighter yellow socks by the looks of it. I don't care. Yeah, the finished objects 2 and 3, and I have no other finished objects after that. I may always go like a while between my podcasts, but I never really seem to get much finished compared to other people. And I know I shouldn't be comparing myself, but I can't help but wonder, like, how do they churn out so much? And I'm sitting here like, yeah, working on a suck. So, works in progress. Leave that one to last. I was going through all my project bags and seeing what things were left lingering. Had I not touched anything in a while? There's my Skittles. I've been looking for these for a week. Apparently this was my knitting snack. Long story short, Scott and I, my parents had a wedding last weekend, so Scott came down to mine because we had to look after the cats. We were sat in the back room instead of my bedroom, and we were watching a movie, and I had Skittles. And then when we packed up, I must have put these in my knitting bag to have less things to carry back through. And I knew I had them. I knew I hadn't finished the pack. And I've been looking for them because I wanted something sweet throughout the week. And I've been like, I must have finished them, even though I knew in my mind that I hadn't finished an entire packet. I wondered why this was heavier than it should be. So when I was going through my project bags, I remembered and rediscovered my blanket. So I'm not happy with the centre square. The centre square up to a certain point was done with a chain in between each of the 3 double crochets, which is a treble crochet in UK terminology. I do my crochet on US terminology. So I done a chain in between all my double crochets, and it's a lot gappier, whereas if you look here compared to here, there's a lot less of a gap, and this just sits nicer. And this throws off how the rest of the blanket sits. So it really, really does bug me. So yeah, every time I look at it, I kind of question, will I rip it out, will I not rip out? And then I remember just how much work has gone into this blanket. So my other ideas are then that I finish this off as a square, and then I add not like other squares around it without the center stitch. But then I feel like because the gaps in this one threw off the rest of the blanket, that I'm not going to get it to line up nicely. I don't know. Do you guys think it makes much of a difference? Like when Scott and I move in together, this is going to be on the back of a sofa, and it's going to be used like for movies and just chilling, and or more ornamental. Like you can see that it's kind of throwing it off already. It makes everything a wee bit squint. But yeah, I picked it up anyway. I put about, I was working with, there must be a tag in here somewhere. I was working with the Opal 10 grams that I got in my advent calendar, my Opal advent calendar that I bought at the Yarn Cake in Glasgow. And they're brilliant for this, but I think I'm running low. But I have other things I can work with, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I think I got through about 5 wee 10 grammars, and this progress keeper that is made by Aileen of Little Bush Baby Makes is marking where I picked it back up. So I've got 5 rows on it, which might not sound like much, but that is 5 entire rows. Which is quite a lot of work, and when you're working with wee 10 gram minis, that is a lot of ends to weave in, basically. So I'm not showing you the back. but it's, at the moment, it's a really good lap size. I had it on me when we were watching the movie whilst I was working on it, and yeah, I really do like it. It's just the centre that bugs the hell out of me. So, I don't know. I could always make it and then have it so that, sorry, there's so much commotion going on our street. I could always have it so that there's more to the back of the sofa and you won't see the centre. I don't know. Maybe I'm nitpicking. Maybe there's absolutely nothing. Maybe to other people that's not something to be concerned about, but it does bug me. And I don't know if, because it bugs me that much, I should just rip it out, or what. Like, I'm going to stop getting distracted by the people on the street. I'm sorry. I don't know. What do you guys think? If it bugged you that much, would you just rip it out and start all over again, or would you literally just bite the bullet and keep on going? Wonder if there's any way that I can just rip out the centre and not all the work. I don't know. I'm blabbering. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm running out on the 10 gram minis, but my lovely friend Eva, she had given me a bag of Opal scraps, all Opal yarn scraps, and I wanted to stick with the one yarn because Opal has a certain feel to it. I think you might know what I'm on about if you've used Opal before, but Opal's got a certain feel to it, and I felt that if I started adding in other minis, like my 10 gram minis that I got from the Vicky Brown advent calendar in the same year, would really kind of throw off, and it would change the texture a lot, and I'd feel that I would have to be more consistent in chopping and changes, so it would need to be Opal, Vicky Brown, Opal, Vicky Brown, Opal. You get what I mean. But I like this texture more because I like the feel of Opal. I could just sit and stroke this blanket all day like a weirdo. Like, oh, my blanket. But yeah, I've got lots of scraps to get on with just now, and then when I run out, I might put a plea on Facebook or Instagram and be like, has anyone got any minis that you can send me? That's the run back. And I still have one of the minis. So this is what I've been working with. A wee 10 gram Christmas Opal mini. Although I don't think this one's Christmas. I don't think this is a Christmas one, because all my other Christmas ones have like Christmas candy or Santa on them. And I am crocheting this up on a 3.5mm clover, which this is one of my favourite hooks. And I found it very interesting watching Deborah of the Physicist Farm Gal. I don't know, I want to call it Buckthorn Farms because that's also her name across the internet, on interwebs, but it's Physicist Farm Gal podcast. I found it very interesting because she brought it up on how she holds hers, because some people do hold it like a pencil, but I also hold it like she does, and I hold it like, well, essentially how I hold my fork and my knife. So I like the way this feels on my hand because of the handle. So that's how I hold my crochet hook. So I don't know it, like, I don't know, do any of you hold it this way? If you hold it like a pencil, put pencil in the comment. If you hold it like a fork, put fork. And if nobody else holds their fork like this, I am so different. But yeah, I'm going to put it back in its bag, and I'm going to remember that's where my Skittles are, and then I have a wee sweet treat for later on tonight. Genuinely was curious where those went. I thought Scott had nicked them. And this is being held in one of my project bags that I made. One of the few that I've got a handle on, but I am planning on putting more handles on my bags. So this is my Ninja Turtle bag, which I love. Make sure I zip the actual yarn. So this actually holds that entire blanket. and my Skittles and a wee ball of yarn and my crochet hook and a few, and there's still room to spare, like, so it's quite a good bag. Not that I'm trying to upsell or anything. That one's finished. We'll talk about this one because this is quite important. Not that I've done much work on it. Myself and the lovely Marcus of Fibre Punk are doing a knit along. And I'm losing stitches. Oh dear. So Marcus and I have been in talks for a while. We want to do a big, massive, oversized shawl. I love this shawl because to me this is quite oversized. This is 12 20 gram minis, I think, from Mothy and the Squid, and I bought this at her trunk show that she had in the Yarn Cake in Glasgow quite a while ago, and I finished this quite a while ago. I recently got a wee cuff for it and I love this so much. And it makes wearing this a wee bit nicer. So Marcus and I are in the same boat that we really love oversized shawls or knit or like wraps or whatever you want to call them. So we have started a make along. I may have said knit along at the beginning. I do apologise. It is a make along because we want to be inclusive of all the crafts. You could crochet, you could weave. I'm knitting one. Marcus, I think, is knitting one. I don't know. I will correct myself if I need to. But you can do any craft to make a neck blanket, as we are calling it. And our definition of a net blanket is anything that uses 200 grams of yarn or more. That could be 4-ply, it could be DK, iron, chunky or super chunky, that's entirely up to you. But it needs to use 200 grams of yarn. And I can't remember the start date, sometime in April, I think. Yep, sometime in April, because Marcus was bad and he cast on for everyone else. But the finish date is the 1st of September. So you can enter in your... I say enter in, that sounds like there's prizes. There's no prizes. I'm going to start this all over again. Marcus and I, or Marcus of Fibre Punk. Oh my god, Kirsty, just shut up. Marcus of Fibre Punk and myself are knitting... Okay, I need sugar. Or I need caffeine. Take 100. Marcus of Fibre Punk and myself are doing a make-along. And our make-along is going to be called the Neck Blanket Mal. And that is also the hashtag, so hashtag a neck blanket mal. And our take on a neck blanket is anything that uses 200 grams of yarn. 200 grams of yarn or more. And the 200 grams could be 4-ply, lace weight if you're feeling challenging, DK, iron, chunky, super chunky. And it can be any craft, crochet, knitting, weaving, you name it. As long as it includes 200 grams of yarn, you can be counted in this mal. This mal does not have any prizes. This is just a mal for the sake of being in a group of people that want to make something spectacularly large. And it also just gets people knitting and maybe going out of their comfort zone. Some people might like a certain type of neck wrap or shawl, and it could just be that normally only involves like 100 grams of yarn. So like by including that extra 100 grams, you're kind of maybe pushing yourself out of your boundaries a wee bit. So I am knitting the Changes Shawl by Mina Philip. I see if I can get the front page of that. So that is the Changes Shawl by Mina Philip. This uses quite a lot of yarn. So it uses 2 full skeins, which she's got as 115 grams. And it also requires 10 20 gram minis. So this is a massive shawl that requires a lot of yarn. Like, so that's 400 grams right there. So I would also like to add in that Deborah of the Physicist Farm Gal is also knitting the exact same shawl. So we're having a Changes Shawl along. If anyone else is knitting the Changes Shawl, please let us know, and it could be part of our friends make along. This isn't really an official make along, but we're making the exact same shawl, so we thought, what the hey, let's just be extra supportive for each other because it is a massive shawl. And on my Ravelry group for the neck blanket mal, you will find a chatter thread just now, and it's also kind of like a motivational one. So if you haven't already started, I've gone in and put quite a few links in there for crochet and knitted shawls. I didn't do it just on pretty paid for ones. I also put in a couple of freebies as well. So just to kind of suit all requirements, because you might not want to go out and buy pay for a pattern, you might not be able to pay for a pattern, but I also wanted to help support makers and put in a couple of paid for patterns as well. So I had the Changes Shawl for quite some time, I had the pattern for quite some time, and I had the main yarn for quite some time as well. This is Fairy Lights by Corolla of Otherworldly Yarns again. So it's this gorgeous multicoloured yarn, and I don't remember what the base is, and my tag is in the middle, and I don't want to take it out to then have to try very hard to get it back in. I cast on the day of our cast on, and this is all I've done. This tiny little row, I think there's like 5 rows in there. 1, 2, 3, no, 4. Even less. I've got 4 rows on my Changes shawl, but the reason for that is because I was working so hard on my Amma sweater that I really put all my other work down. The only time I picked anything else up was if I wanted something really simple, so my socks or my blanket. But now that my Amma sweater is finished, I can work on this. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've got a heap ton of minis. I picked up, I had original minis in mind, but I don't think I ended up having enough, or they were too close to my main colour. So these are all my minis, and these are by different people. So I've got some from Rusty Ferret, I have Easy Knits, I also have, I think this is Melted Moglet Dyeworks. I think that's right. I also have Ninja Pop from Dye Ninja and Vicky Brown Designs. I thought, yep, I got a My Mama Knits. I think this is also Melted Moglet Dyeworks. So yeah, I've got quite a good range of people in there. Like I say, I originally had in mind to use a set of minis that I have from the Knitting Goddess, but when I put them and my main yarn together, the colours were just too similar. There wasn't much of a contrast, so I felt like I was going to lose them in the main body of work. So I ended up going with almost solid colours. The only ones are these two, which are ever so slightly speckled. You can see the speckles in this one. You can't really see, you can see some on the blue one. Look at me trying to creep through. That'd be a good screen capture, do that. But you can see the speckles on the orange one, and you can see some speckles on the blue. So all the other ones are tonal, if not semi-solid. Semi-solid and tonal are the same thing. Almost. Well, there goes my Ninja Pop, and I don't know where it went. I'll find it, or the cat will find it. Oh no, there it goes. Dangling. So yeah, these are all my minis. I have 10. I've laid them out in a row. I love them. I think they go really, really well together. I will trying to put them into a rainbow order. Kind of like this one. I like the rainbow effect on this one. I love colour. I love bright colours, hence the very lime green and the very highlighter orange. Sadly, the pink isn't completely highlighter pink, but it's good enough. But yeah, I've put in some really amazing colours into this, and I think that these go very well. Very happy with my choice, and I am eager to work on it. I feel guilty that that's all I've done, and this is my own make-along. My Alma sweater was just calling my name. I just wanted to knit it so badly. And this is all being stored in a bag that my wonderful, amazing friend Aileen made me for my birthday. So I turned 30 in April, and Aileen made this bag for me, and I can't believe it. She's got my babies on the front. So this is Monty, this is Socks, and this is Eli. He's my baby. He's mine. These are all pictures that I've taken. So she snooped on my Facebook or my Instagram, and she took these pictures, and I forgive her for that because they are awesome. She's put in some really, really nice shell buttons. I want to say shell. And then she's made this project bag as well. Box bottom, awesome lining, a wee handle, and a nice chunky zip. And it holds everything. It holds the 3. So I've got 2 other cakes of yarn in here. Another set of needles. I think the shawl calls for 2 different sizes. So it holds all 3 cakes and all 10 minis and the pattern. So that just shows you how great a size this bag is. And I love it. It's got my babies on it. So yeah, put all that away afterwards. My last working project is in my Floof Hunter bag that I got at EYF. And this is just another sock, just another vanilla sock. And I have got the cuff, leg, heel, and I'm now working on the foot. And this is being made out of a Stranded Dyeworks sock blank. All this fluff going everywhere is making my nose itch. So it's being made out of, I want to say pinata. I don't know how well that colour is coming up. There you go. So there is some bright oranges, and there's some really good like splodges of purple and pink, and it's on kind of like a very pale pink base as well. And my heels, toes and cuffs are out of the wee mini that I showed you earlier. This is a mini by Vicky Brown Designs. And this is my usual sock recipe, 64 stitches, 2.25, 9-inch circular, heel flap and gusset. I extended, sorry, I've got such an itchy nose. I extended my heel flap and gusset by about 3 or 4 extra rows because I feel like this bit's normally quite tight on my foot. Don't know if anyone else gets that when they're doing their hand knit socks, but this bit's just quite a wee bit tight on my foot when I'm wearing them. I can get them on my feet, no bother, but it's just a wee bit tight. So I extended the heel flap so that I get extra stitches here. And I haven't tried it on, but I have another sock that's been on the needles for quite some time, only because the yarn is bleeding like a bugger, and it's black yarn. So I want to knit them and then set them back in citric acid and see if that'll help. But it kind of puts me off getting the black fingers when I'm done. So you can see that this is knitted again fabric because it's kind of squirmy, squiggly, doesn't sit as nice. So if we do a comparison, so I don't know how well you guys can see that. I don't know if one's making the other one blur out, but this one is the sock blank and this one is yarn that was in a cake. and the stitches are just a lot more defined on this one than they are on this, because this is knitted again fabric. Because I don't see the point in ripping out a sock blank, caking it, well, ripping out a sock blank into a cake, putting it into a skein, soaking the skein, setting the skein, and then putting it back into a cake. That's just too much effort. Knit from the sock blank and just block your socks, or wear them and then stick them in the wash, and then you're good. So I've been working on this for since last week, on and off since last week. I cast them on because Scott and I were headed out in the car, and I don't like being in the car and not knitting, because it kind of helps me get distracted, because I get really badly car sick and I have to wear those bands with the pressure point, and so knitting also kind of takes my mind off it and distracts me a wee bit. So there's a reason I cast these on. I didn't cast them on in the car. I lie so badly. I'm sorry, my mind is so bad. I cast these on last week at the Glasgow Crafters meetup that I arrange, and my friend Jessica was over from I've forgotten where she lives in the States. The state that she lives in has just gone completely out of my head. Texas? Yes, she's from Texas. So I cast these on at the Glasgow Craft meetup, and then I was knitting on them when we went to the Fibre Punk trunk show, and then I've been working on them on and off since. So I'm sorry, I got that really confused. I knew there was a car involved. I didn't knit in the car, normally I do. I must have been that tired. What didn't help that day, I was very flustered because I was running late for my own meetup. Like, that's bad. Thankfully, Aileen was there to kind of help, because Aileen's early for everything and she's an absolute doll, and she was there, and it kind of made me feel a wee bit better. So I cast these on whilst we were at the Glasgow Botanics, and then I was working on them when we were at the yarn cake for the Fibre Punk trunk show. That is a mouthful. And then I've been working on them on and off through the week because, like I say, I really, really wanted to get my Amma sweater finished. So normally I would get up, not early in the morning, but I would get up and still have roughly minimum half an hour to knit before I start work. And I like to do that because it just helps me calm and relax before I go into my work. I say into my work. This room is my work now. So it just kind of helps me calm down before I'm going to be logging onto the computer and start working. So it's not seen as much work as I would like, or I would normally have, because normally I would just work on a sock in the mornings. But my Amma sweater was all simple knitting, no decreasing. Well, sleeves were decreasing, but I didn't work on them in the morning because my brain wouldn't have switched on by then. But if it was just simple in the round knitting, I'd be picking up my Amma sweater instead of a sock. There's a bird just going up and down. I am like a dog that just goes, squirrel. But yeah, I decided to do contrasting heels, toes and cuffs in the hopes that, just like with my otherworldly yarn socks, I'll be able to get 2 pairs out of them. I feel really motivated now to constantly try for 2 pairs, and I think that'll be really good, and especially even if it's not 2 pairs for me, the other pair can be for my mum. So if I can get 2 pairs of socks out of 1 ball of yarn, I am going to be over the moon. And it also means I'm going to have a lot less leftover yarn that just sits in a bowl and doesn't do anything. It'll get put into something eventually, but right now it all just sits in a bowl. So yeah, those are my current works in progress that I have been working on. So that is all the knitting. So if you're only here for the knitting, thank you so much for watching. And I'm just going to readjust how I'm sitting, so apologies. I have finished up the knitting section of the podcast, and now I'm going to be moving on to the acquisitions and some yarn that I've been dyeing and some life in general. So if that's not up your alley, thank you so much for watching up till now. And if you're going to continue watching, let's get to the good stuff. So as I was saying, I went to the Fibre Punk trunk show at the Yarn Cake in Glasgow, and I knew I was going to treat myself. Marcus does some amazing self-striping yarn. He does amazing non-self-striping yarn, but I really wanted some self-striping. So when I got in, thankfully I was one of the first people in from my mob. I say my mob, that sounds bad. But when we arrived, I kind of beelined straight for the self-striping, and I got these. This is caked up, not because I plan on using it anytime soon, but because this arrived at my house last week. This is an electric ball winder, which I got because I am still recovering from my shoulder surgery, and my shoulder has very temperamental days where I am in exceeding amount of pain, and my carpal tunnel is also coming back in my wrists. So if I can do anything to help my body, I'm gonna do it. So treated myself to a electric ball winder, and I had to test it. So, oh, a wee bumblebee just hit the window. Don't know if you guys heard that. So this is the first one, and that's coming up quite true. So there's some very baby blues, some purples, baby pinks, and it is lovely. I think I can maybe get the tag out of this one. So this one is called Castilian, I think. Let's see if I can get this back in now. A little wiggling. Oh no, I'm pushing yarn through. There we go. So this one is gorgeous. And then the other one I got is called Merfolk. And this is just stunning. Look at those colours. And this is in the 75% British wool and 25% nylon, which is on the British sock base and comes from British breeds and British farmers, spun in the UK and dyed in Glasgow. It is a hard-wearing sock yarn, sure to keep you warm in the most inclement weather. And there's the tag, that thing. Forgot my words there. So yeah, I treated myself to both of these, and I loved supporting Marcus because Marcus is a friend of mine and his yarn is just yummy, and everyone needs to try and get some in their life. No pressure on him. That is not I'm not saying go flood him and demand yarn from him. I'm saying if you get the chance to buy it, buy it. You'll not be mistaken. No, you'll not be disappointed. I swear I got sleep last night. So I got that at the trunk show, but whilst we were in the yarn cake, I treated myself to some Mothy and the Squid. So Mothy, or Jillian, should I say, has been working on some rainbow yarn. And by rainbow, what I mean is, let's see if I can get this out. So what I mean by that is there's literally just this bit here on the yarn. Everything else is one colour. So in this one, it's all grey. And then here is the rainbow. So we've got purple, red, yellow, green and blue. And I also went for the orange one. Let's see if I can skein this back up. My wrists have been pretty dodgy recently. I might cut this out or speed this bit up. Between my wrists and my elbow, life has been interesting recently. There we go. Hang on, let's fix that. So she's been working on some interesting rainbows recently, and they're very, very nice. Pip and Sam beat me to the lime green one, so I ended up with the orange one because I thought this would still look pretty damn interesting. And I've seen it kind of knitted up already, and it just looks brilliant with the flashes of the rainbow kind of like dispersed throughout the knitting. So I can't wait to get these into socks, and It reminds me of the same kind of style as the Easy Knits that I got at Edinburgh. So really looking forward to knitting these up. And then one last acquisition, which was a wee treat to myself. All of it's a wee treat to myself, and I'm not justifying spending the money, but I know some people will be like, oh my god, you have so much. I don't normally buy this much yarn, and my friend was doing some mini skeins, and I love her yarn, so I got her Alice in Wonderland mini skein set. That yellow's getting really blown out. I'm sorry, let's see if I can. So that's the yellow. And then there's this one. There's this one. And this one. And then we have that one. So these are her Alice in Wonderland mini skein sets that were limited edition, and I was very lucky to jump in and get one. I also ordered her walkthrough. Oh god, my brain's turned off. I'm just not long home from, I say not long home, it's been 51 minutes that I've been recording. I'm just back from my goddaughter's 3rd birthday party with a lot of screaming children. So walk through Middle Earth. Knew I'd get it. So when I ordered these, I got the Walk Through Middle Earth club that she's doing, which is a full skein of yarn, and I'm getting that on a sock base. So these are 100% BFL. I will correct that if I am wrong. Whereas the Walk Through Middle Earth is going to be a 75-25 or an 80-20. So there'll be nylon in that, so that'll be good for socks. And I love Becky's yarn, so I should say this is Ovis yarns. And I love Becky's yarn. I got the Geek Miss last year for my advent calendar. So 12 days of Geek Miss. So I already have 12 20-gram minis, so these are all 20 grams. And what I plan to do is I plan to put all of Becky's minis into a blanket. Now you may be saying about that, 12 and 5, that's not enough for a blanket. Well, Becky has just released some new reruns of some mini clubs that she done over 12 months ago. That includes Moomins, Studio Ghibli, Nightmare Before Christmas, and The Hobbit. There's a 5th, but for the life of me I can't remember it. And I was messaging Becky and I was just like, I need these. I just outright need them. And she was like, right, pre-order goes up Friday at 7 o'clock. I was like, right, I'm going to set an alarm. So it gets to 9 o'clock on Friday, and guess who remembers? Panic straight, like literally floods me. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm going to miss them because it's literally 10 of each, and then that's it. She's not going to do any more than that for at least another 12 months. So panic floods me, and I dash onto her website. I don't even think it was 9 o'clock. I'm genuinely sure it was about 10, 11 o'clock that I'd done this. So I couldn't have got on quicker onto her website, and I'm really curious now to find out which was the 5th one. And go onto her website and I order what I can. So I got the Studio Ghibli, Moomin, Star Wars, how can I forget that? Concerning Hobbits and The Nightmare Before Christmas, and I got all of them in the 4-ply. They're all 4-ply, and I got them all in the 20-gram minis as well. So these are not coming until halfway through June. No, because she's got an exam, and then she's going to dye them. I think it might be halfway through July before I get them, which is absolutely fine because I have so many blanket projects on the go as it is. Certainly don't need another one cast on, but that's exactly what they're going to become. They are going to become a blanket. So I'm going to be doing my research and finding out which pattern I want to use for all these beautiful yarns, and it's literally going to be my Ovis yarn blanket. So I cannot wait. It's going to be brilliant. My hair is all over them because I am shedding at the moment. I'm also growing my hair out. It's getting there. I look like I have a mullet at the back of my hair, but it is growing. And do you know how I can tell? Because it now goes past my nose. So before it only reached my nose, so it has grown half an inch. I'm trying really hard to grow it out, and then there's amazing people like Pip and Amy of the Stranded Dyeworks, so Pip of Tipsy Knits and Amy Florence, who are shaving their head, and I'm like, oh, it looks so liberating, but I really do want to grow it out because I miss having curly hair. I miss being able to tie it up, especially when it's windy, because it's not there yet. I can't tie it up and get it out of my face, which is probably more people saying, like, well, just shave it then if it's getting annoying. I really want to grow my hair out. So that's the last of the acquisitions. And then I thought, this is my podcast. So I'm going to show off my hand-dyed yarn because it's about time I started promoting myself. So I've been dyeing yarn again because my shoulder has been okay. There's been bad days, there's been good days. Thankfully, there's been more good days than there has bad days, but I need to start my strengthening exercises again because I have been a wee bit lapsed on those. So on my good days, I am able to get to the dye pots and dye up some beautiful yarns. Some of my yarn can be found in the Wee Crafty Owl, which is a yarn shop here in Griianaig. And I also want to try and get some on my Etsy page, and I'm going to be bringing some to Perth Festival of Yarn with me on the 7th and 8th of September in Perth, Scotland, in the Dyers Centre. So if you're remotely interested, I hope to see you there. So I've been in the dye pots, and it's a lot easier for me to dye because I'm still transferring skills from my right to my left. So I'm trying to do a lot more with my left hand than I normally would. And I also bought a very shallow pan instead of my pot. So I've got a very big pot. I've got a soup pot, and that's what I was dyeing in. So it would take a lot of effort to get everything out and then lift it up. And I ended up getting a very shallow pan, which does the trick, and I can dye with that absolutely no bother. So here is some yarn I dyed on the last round. So this is not everything I've been dyeing. So I've been dyeing now for a couple of weeks, but this is everything that happened last weekend. So here's the first one. This is on my, I don't know if I'm going to be getting this back in. This is on 100% sustainable, non-superwash, extra fine merino. I have 10 skeins of this. This is in the DK base, approximately 225 metres. And it is so soft, so squishy and bouncy. Like, there's a real good amount of bounce in this. Excuse me. I really do like this one. So there's 10 of these. And then I didn't bring through the 4-ply of that yarn. Oh well. These, I love this. I only have 2 of this skein of this colourway, and I really hope I can try and recreate it, but I'm going to put like a bit of a disclaimer kind of after I show these off. So this is on 100% superwash merino. There's approximately 450 metres. This is not a repeatable yarn base, so these are limited. And this is really, really gorgeous. I don't know whether to try and keep these 2 for myself or list them because of my disclaimer after this. But this is, I think this is the yarn that Countess Ablaze commented on. Might not be, it could actually be this one. I'm not sure. One of these two, Countess Ablaze, left a comment on my Instagram picture and said she really, really liked, which blows my mind that the Countess likes my yarn. Like, wow. That is just phenomenal. So one of these two she likes. And then this is on 100% baby alpaca 4-ply, approximately 400 meters. I love this. I had 4 of these, but 3 of them were for an order. So this is the only one I have left. I might keep it for myself. So if I shift the tag down a wee bit, you can see that there is more kind of like pinks and purples in there. It's not just blues. And then this is my absolute favourite. Really, really love this. And this is on my 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, approximately 400 meters in a 4-ply. I love this yarn. I have 2 of these left. 2 of them went into the wee crafty owl. So yeah, really, really love this. So my disclaimer and my voicing a wee bit of my worry is that I really struggle in recreating colourways or doing repeatable colourways. It's kind of to do with my dyslexia. I can't write down the formula. I can't picture the formula, like physically take photographs of it. And I can't really even recreate it from videos. So I really, really struggle to do repeatable colourways. So all mine are mostly like kind of like one of a kinds, or oaks as people have started calling them. So one of a kind, oak. Took me a while to figure that one out. So I worry that because mine are more one-offs that people aren't going to be interested. But a friend of mine pointed out that there are quite a few well-known and really like demanded dyers that only do one of a kinds, and people buy it because it's more of a case of, well, if I don't buy it now, I will never get it. I'm still worried that people aren't going to be interested in my stuff because I can't recreate it at the drop of a hat. So I've started dyeing in bigger batches, and so this was my first kind of test at that, where I dyed 10 skeins at one time so that they were all almost as identical as you possibly can in the dye process. So that kind of makes me feel a wee bit more at ease knowing that I can dye 10 at a time and get very, very, very similar results. Because obviously I'm not going to get everything completely identical. That you just can't do that with hand dyed. But I don't know, if you could let me know in the comments if you guys are okay with more one-of-a-kinds than you are repeatable colourways, then that might help me feel a wee bit more at ease. But if I'm dyeing in bigger batches, then surely that's a good thing. I don't know. It's a worry. It's a worry like with anything when you're doing your own kind of business, that what you're doing is not good enough or it's just not enough in general. But knowing I can dye in batches of 10 is quite good. We'll see. But yeah, at 1 minute and 4 to go, or 1 minute and 4 gone in, and I've still to kind of cut out a few things, like randomly staring out the window, and probably that whole section where I tried to talk about the make it long. Just the start of it. Everything after that's fine. But yeah, thanks for sticking with me, and thanks for watching to begin with. My podcast is not the best podcast out there, and I am aware of that, but my podcast is mine. It is unique and it is quirky. We'll go with quirky. I'm going to add in a few little clips because I got some nice footage when I was out today. I might add in the footage of my electric ball winder, but you can find that on my Instagram. I'll put in the down bar where you can find me on the interwebs. If you're still sticking around this long, you can find me on Instagram as Griianaig Creations. You can find me on Ravelry as little-b, and you can find the Ravelry group as the Griianaig Creations Podcast as well. But yeah, I'll put that on the down bar for the people that didn't stick around. I have a lot of tidying to do now because I have just completely messed up my desk and I have work tomorrow. I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. See you next time.